Okay, Plato. Uh, 427 to how much it is? 447 to? Hey, you have to start from left, no? First I wrote correct only. 347. These are all our estimated things. When you see this different in different videos and things, don't worry, because as we know, Buddha's date, Kautilya's date, Socrates' date, we are not 100% sure about. Okay, because before Christ era it is fine. So don't be confused when you see. Again, in exam also you don't have to exactly write about this. This is given only for your reference. Oh, in this time period he was there. Fine. Don't try to spend energies in trying to remember every thinker's birth of year and death of year. Don't understand. Okay, just for your understanding sake only I have given this. Fine. Now let us try to imagine Plato coming from a good family, aristocratic family. His family once upon a time was in power in Athens. So understand, he is a well-to-do person. But he was also nicely built, stout. His name was Aristocles. Aristotle kadu. Aristocles. C-L-E-S. Not Aristotle. That is a different thing. Aristotle is his student. Aristocles is his, name was given to him. Then Plato ga maradu. అంటే ఆ పేర్లో మీనింగ్ ఏంటంటే stout person and very well built person, Bahubali type person he was. Okay, that is the background. He also served in some of the army, sometimes sports lo participate chesevadu, and he was very good at that. He won so many awards. This is the background of our Plato. But he was not interested in these things what his family was doing. He was more interested in studying philosophy. Unlike his family members and relatives, he was not interested in acquiring power, going into the governments. No, he was trained under his teacher Socrates, and he wanted to become a good philosopher, and he trained himself in philosophy under his teacher. Then what happens is, in his lifetime there is a war going on in Athens versus Sparta. That war is called as Peloponnesian War. Ponniyin Selvan laga. Okay, Peloponnesian War was going on. Almost 27 years this war goes. In 3 phases the war will happen. Just for our answer, one line of this understanding the war word is enough. No need to go into what was that war, why Athens, Sparta fought, what is the meaning of Peloponnesian League, why it went in 3 phases. Nonsense, not required for our exam. We are not reading history here. But one thinker will always be influenced by his times. In our heroes also in our life, endukinta violent ga unna, why you are so violent means background music vachesi past of the hero will be shown. Yes or no? Interval bang, hero will do one fight, full violence, and heroine is surprised. Oh my god, you are this much crazy violent guy. Why, what happened to you? Ade Pogaru movie is there. So many movies in our Telugu, Tamil and Malayalam whatever industries have this interval bang where hero will be doing some big fights, action scenes, and after the end interval finally katha ippudu modalautundi, story starts now, something like that. Pogaru ippudu chupistadu, Vishal. All this will happen in our movies. So let us also, every thinker, we say this word is very common, we can write in answers also. A man is a product of his circumstances. Do you agree? సందర్భాలు మనల్ని మార్చేస్తాయని చెప్పేసి. ఓకే, ఎ మ్యాన్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఏ ప్రోడక్ట్ ఆఫ్ సర్కమ్స్టాన్సెస్. సేమ్ వి యూస్ ఫర్ అవర్ థింకర్స్ ఆల్సో. Directly reading thinker is not story like we have to study. Why Plato has given this kind of theory, his background is important for us to understand. Already I told a little bit of it. Now let us see another background of what happened during Plato's life. One big tragic event in Plato's life was his teacher getting killed in the hands of corrupt democrats. He hated democracy. Second thing, in his lifetime he has seen a big war. A war between Athens versus Sparta. 300 movie. Like that, okay. Sparta, you know, right? 300 movie, have you seen? Spartans are there in that film. 300. 2 parts are there in that film, right? No, ala chusarante. Nobody saw 300 at least. Okay. Sorry. అంటే చూడకపోతే తప్పు చేశారని కాదు. Don't think like that. When I say you didn't see means I don't think a sorry is like if you don't see he's seeing as if you have done mistake. No. Still, youth kabatti I feel like you watch some movies around you. So in that film we see warfare and all that. So Sparta, as you see in that film, what they have shown, somewhat it is true also, a very athletic and very nicely built military regimen, very disciplined persons. But Athens had good naval supremacy at that time. But some wars happened for the sake of both are powerful kingdoms, but fighting for influence, war happens. 3 phases war will happen, 27 years almost war will happen. Who will lose? Athens will lose. Big shock. Athens loses the war. Athens loses. And our Socrates, Plato, all coming from Athens. Plato was stunned. How can we lose to Sparta? My homeland lost to Sparta. Why? Then he tried to inquire. What are the reasons why we lost this war? Then he found out that our rulers are so corrupt and inefficient. That is why we lost this war. The corruption of our leaders, the so-called democratic leaders, they were not even ready to equip themselves to fighting this war. No proper administration, no knowledge of the governance. Sparta, on the other hand, had great military regime, had great discipline in their lives, and they were excellent in doing education, sports, and all those aspects. Why we are lacking? Plato inquired into these cases, and he felt corruption is the main reason for our loss in this particular war. And corruption comes why? Why corruption happens? As Socrates says, and now Plato also says, ignorance is the root cause of corruption. You are not aware, knowledge ledu. How to govern also you don't know. Military strategy, nothing you have. That's why we lost the war. These two incidents in Plato's life has really made him convinced democracy is stupid waste. Because democracy means, if for example like a joke some people say, Auntie, we all talk about every side, okay, don't always build opinions on one or two thinkers. Let us understand their point of view. One example, our Vijay Anakonda, Devarakonda, whatever is okay, he also says this, but he told in a different way, he did not even read properly. Why democracy is bad, we want dictator, he says, a good dictator, he says, which never happened in history. Okay, so in a plane, suddenly if pilot and his flying officer, both of them are not able to fly the plane, they got unconscious or dead, whatever. Now if you go and ask in the plane, entire plane, who wants to fly the plane? A question. This example is used a lot to criticize democracy. If you ask who wants to fly the plane, you will say how many of you are aware about flying? Anybody has pilot license? Something you will ask. Experienced person, or at least knowledge of the flying you should have. Or will you ask how many here wants to say yes to flying the plane? By show of hands will you do it? So this example is used by many people to say this is how absurd democracy is. They will not see in the entire flight who actually has a license to fly an airplane. But what they will do, if many of the followers of a person are there, they all will vote for him. Sir, I want our leader to fly the plane. So what happens? The plane will crash. That is how some people criticize democracy. Now understand the point, or let us understand good and bad of democracy. It's fine. We have to accept it. That is how he says, Plato says, Plato does not know about aircrafts and all that. This is an example which we use. Those persons who have the knowledge of governance, only they should rule. Plato is fixed in his mind. Not by elections, all the ignorant masses voting for one guy who does not even know about governance, and he will not even know how to make policies, how to take care of the people. Nothing he knows. Only what happens, people have chosen him. That's it. Whether really he has that kind of qualifications or that kind of intellect to govern, we are not seeing, right? So Plato says no. Only a person who is a philosopher can rule. That brings us to the most important concept of philosopher king. He says only kings should be philosophers, and philosophers alone can rule. That is the thing which we have to accept. Philosophers alone should rule, not the common man who does not have any awareness. For that he gives a very elaborate theory which we are going to discuss today itself. Okay, so as of now, background of Plato is okay for you. What was he coming from? What was his background? Yeah, tell me. Huh? Yeah, money, power, influence were there among them, and lack of accountability, lack of knowledge. As I told you, if a robber is stealing something from some person, Socrates says that robber does not know that his action is causing harm to others. Same in this way also, the democrats who are ruling Athens don't even know governance. and their actions have resulted in the defeat of Athens. And they don't know that అరే ఇలా కరప్ట్గా ఉంటే మంచిది కాదు అనే నాలెడ్జ్ కూడా వాళ్ళకి లేదు. The corrupt rulers of Athens don't have the knowledge of that they are incompetent, they should not rule. They did not even have a proper strategy to fight the war. As a result, they have lost it. Now, understanding the point or not? They did not have the governance knowledge. What the Sparta had, in this particular war. The kind of regimen they followed, the kind of tactics they followed, the kind of educational efforts, starting from the beginning itself, the training for all the Spartans, how it happened. Plato was impressed by that. We have to learn from Sparta, he felt. That is lacking in our particular Athens because our rulers are not even having knowledge of how to govern. Clear or not? That's why a man who has knowledge alone should rule. Who is the man having knowledge? Philosopher. Alan Chepes, Plato did not say, I am philosopher, I am the king. He did not say that. He did not want such kind of power. He was just a philosopher who was giving his views. And he also started his own university or a school or college, whatever you call. It was called as academy. Not an academy. It was called academy. Maybe as Jose wala pair pettinattunnaru. He started academy. These are all. Socrates was a normal person, a teacher. Plato was coming from royal family, but he started academy to teach people. He wrote a very famous book. I think I gave in your notes also. Sometimes in our answers, not need to quote very rarely. If you're writing like Plato in this book has mentioned, and it's enough. Again, no need to remember. I will give dates and everything. You're not writing factual exam here. You're writing mains exam. Main exam means analytical perspective has to be there. Fine. So you have to write like this. Plato in his book Republic and Chepes Rally. So in your notes, if you see, I gave 3 books. What are those 3 books? First one is many books he wrote. I gave 3. Republic by Sai Kanth. Okay. What is that? Republic. మళ్ళీ అలా వచ్చేస్తుంది అది ఏమైంది అక్కడ ఫ్యాన్ ఉందా ఓకే రిపబ్లిక్ సెకండ్ వన్ when he was very young youth he wrote Republic. Young means relatively young. Second one, when he was mature, when he was somewhat going to maturity, he wrote Statesman. Then last what he wrote, what is the next thing what I told there? Republic, Statesman and Laws. We'll come back to that again. Prominent works of Plato, methodology of Plato. I told. See, every thinker has one style. Methodology means like what is the methods or what is the type of work they do in what way. Some persons will be already having conclusion. In this chair line fix. Scientists what they will do? They have some hypothesis. They want to prove some theory. In the course of that, they will learn some new things. The discovery happens. So science is mostly inductive kind of approach. Deductive method means what? I have already conclusion in my mind. I need to fix. Asalu democracy undakudadu. No democracy should be there. Who should be the ruling person? Philosopher king. So Plato is fixed in his mind. He already has conclusion in his mind that I want a state which is ruled by philosopher king. So this type of methodology is called as deductive methodology, where the conclusion is already in the mind of the thinker. But there are some people who are like scientific. They are trying to get the right answer. But here already he thinks, I know the answer. Now I will tell the method to get to the answer. I know that the state should be ruled by philosopher king. Now I will give my theory how to make that philosopher king. Like starting nunche, what happens in Bahubali film? They will be training these guys, 2 guys from the beginning. Scorpion will bite him, but still he will not care. He will give respect to his mother. Training of archery, all this happen. Finally, Bahubali scene will come where he is trying to avert all the arrows and whistles and claps and screams in theaters. Okay, so in that way also, here also same thing happens almost. Plato will give a big scheme. Sometimes it's funny also. Education, how to do, how to treat, how to train these people. The elaborate scheme he will give. We will discuss those schemes will be coming in the exam. Fine. I'll give you those questions also, what they came in the exam. Fine. So Plato has conclusion in his mind. It's called deductive approach. And he also uses his master's dialectics. What is dialectics? Logical debate, logical questioning will be also happening. So dialectics is a very important form of questioning which Greeks have given, and Plato also uses the same thing. Now if you go to the next topic, what is the theory of forms and ideas? Sleeping, huh? Theory of forms and ideas. Theory of forms. Now this here itself, for this theory, when I was a student, I used to struggle in my mind. I used to be angry also. అసలు అర్థం కాకుంటుండే, మరీ ఇంత డెప్తా అని చెప్పేసి. I have spent so many hours on YouTube and reading big books to understand this. Then I already have seen the film Matrix. So Matrix is based on this theory of forms. చూడండి, ఎప్పుడైనా మీకు ఎప్పుడైనా టైం ఉంటే, స్టార్టింగ్లో బోర్ అని చెప్పేసి డోంట్ స్టాప్ ఇట్. If you have time, if you want to watch some intellectual great movie, watch the film The Matrix. Starting first 20 to 15 minutes you see and you will be like, are boring, or 30 minutes boring. Not like that. Think what they are doing. What is the technology they are talking about? Or pause and just Google and see explanation of the Matrix scene by scene. Then you will be understanding. Your mind will be blown away by watching that film. Ante, sir, you are a fan, that's why you are saying. No, not like that. It's actually, you must be seeing how much it impacted the entire world, that you can Google and see. Don't believe me. You Google yourself and see what the Matrix has done to the world. Not only of films and also of our thoughts. Theory of forms or knowledge or ideas. He was heavily influenced by Plato. Knowledge is certain. Infallible means I'm an infallible person. Knowledge is certain. Knowledge will not change. Infallible means something which cannot be wrong. I am fallible means I can fail, I can fall. Infallible means, I gave it there line. Channel is knowledge gurinchi. I gave there. Knowledge is, that's my prepared notes. I 7-8 books ila pakkan petkoni prepare chesina notes adi na desk meeda. Okay, fine. So knowledge is infallible means knowledge certain ga untundi. Nobody can change knowledge. Perfect ga untundi knowledge. That is what they believe. Knowledge is perfect. Knowledge is always helping us to attain a good life. That is the basic assumption behind theory of knowledge. Now comes an interesting story called Plato's allegory of caves. ఇలాంటివి ఇంటర్వ్యూలు అడిగితే you can be very happy to explain the interviewers that what is this allegory of the cave. So many movies have been made on this concept also. Allegory means it's a story with some deep meaning, some hidden message. You want to explain something deep, I will use a story to explain that. By story you will understand the depth of the message. Fine. Plato's story of the cave, we have to understand what is the meaning of theory of forms. According to Plato, forms are perfect, unchanging concepts. Forms are perfect, unchanging concepts that help us understand the reality. So the entire theme of the film The Matrix goes into, is this world real, what we are living right now? What do you say? We are living in this, now you are in this room, in this world. What is your opinion? What is reality according to you? Or is this reality according to you? Or if you have any opinion still, otherwise, sir, we have never thought, it's okay. What is reality according to you? What we see in this classrooms and everything, is this real or is this fake? Are we actually seeing the real world? Why Buddha sat, famous Siddhartha, right, his name, he was a good prince, richest he was born under, had family, wife, everything, good father, all mother, he was enjoying his life. Suddenly when he goes out of his kingdom, you know the story, right, he goes out and he sees the entire world suffering. Some people are carrying the dead body and all that. Some old person is suffering, very sick and very hungry. He has not seen that world. Then what happens? Some kind of awakening happens in Buddha. He will try to search for meaning of life, and finally under Bodh Gaya tree, he achieves what? Enlightenment. Now you see, I'm not talking about today's all fake babas and gurus. They're all money-minded businessmen. Let's not talk about those fake gurus, which many of us follow. Okay. Actual ga enlightenment aina vallaku world different ga kanpistunda leda? Those people who actually got such kind of enlightenment, that world, what we see is, in this all things, people are fighting for some things. People see the reality, some of them, and they shun that kind of things. Buddha has not paid attention to, and Buddha was not extreme ascetic like Jains, Mahavir Jain. Jainism is very extreme and very ascetic life. Buddha is middle path, Madhyam Marga untundi. But still, as you see, some people who got that that this world, what it is, they realize. What we are fighting for, what we are going after, this here is all waste of time. I am only focusing on how to live a good life, what gives me peace. That is what some people realize. Not everybody can realize this, right? Everybody realized the prapancham veruga undedi. The world would have been different if everybody knows that why to fight against this, why to gossip against our friends, why to do cheap comments against somebody. We will say a waste of time. No. Theory of forms means Plato says what we see this is not actually real. The real form exists somewhere else. The reality is not what we see in front of our eyes. For this, you will say, sir, what you are saying? Example, Ivandi. Okay, Plato gives example. Many thinkers will use this kind of examples to explain their complicated things. Let us see this example. Very interesting example is there. Some of you must have already heard this. We call this as the kind of thought experiments these thinkers will do. Story how it is. I am extremely bad at drawing, so don't laugh. So I cannot draw. I have a good imagination, but unfortunately this will not happen. So let us imagine, if anyone can draw or help me also is fine. In a cave, three men are chained. Three or a few men are chained together like this. Okay, there is a cave. Okay, this is a cave, you think. And facing this cave, there are, for example, three men or three or four, whatever number is not, doesn't matter. There are a few men who are facing the cave. Facing the cave, okay? This is a cave and this is the outside world. Now in this cave, what is happening is, here there is some light source, whether it is sun or whether it is any fire which we have lit, whatever. Okay, light source is there. And there are some path outside is there. These guys are inside a dark cave, very dark cave. They cannot see like this behind. They are only tied like this and they are seeing the wall of the cave. Ardham the point? They are seeing the wall of the cave. Let me, for example, like this. I am seeing this only. I cannot see that. Experiment, okay? And they are tied together. Whole of their life what happens is, they do not know the outside reality what is there. They think that that cave is the actual world. This sun is there, no? People keep passing here. Horses, people, small kids, old men, women, sometimes birds. All this will happen. So what happens here? Shadow. Shadow is cast. If sunlight or some other light source is there, you are walking from here. What happens? Your shadow will fall on the cave inside or not? Yes or no? So this sunlight will, or some source of light, firelight, will be casting a shadow of these walking people here in the wall of the cave. So for example, if there is a sun, I am seeing here, somebody stands here. Can I see the reflection, shadow here or not? So is the shadow same as the person? It's just a shadow, right? So that means these men who are facing this cave interior are thinking that the shadows of these actual things is the reality. They have no idea. They are born in this cave, for example, and the entire life spent in the cave. For them, the entire world is seen in the form of shadows only. So they will see the shadows. They're like, oh, rabbit is coming. Oh, the elephant is coming. Oh, humans are coming. Oh, small kid is coming. And the entire world they will see only by not the actual appearance, but only by shadows. And they think that shadow is reality. One day, one of the prisoners' chain will break and he is free. Then he feels like going out. He will go out of the cave. Immediately he comes out of the cave, he sees the sun and his eyes are like blinded. Because whole life he spent in cave, suddenly when we go to our home after this afternoon, we are not able to see what is inside the parking lot or in our house. Now this man spent a whole life in cave. Now when he goes inside the cave, he goes outside the cave, he's seeing the sun, he's not able to see properly. Slowly he will adjust and he's able to see things. He's like, oh, this is a man. Who is this guy? He's a man. He looks like a man. I saw this man's shadow. Oh, birds are like this. Oh, elephants are like this. Horse is like this. He is completely shocked. What he was thinking all his life as actual appearances, but in reality, they are only shadows. Now the real world is quite different from what he has seen. And he still struggles. So what he will do is he will go to a water body and he will see his face. Oh, so this is what I was seeing all my life. That means he gets the what? Enlightenment. That okay, this is the reality. Then what he will do, he'll go inside the cave. I will tell my friends what I saw. He will go and tell, I saw this, I saw that. They will think, what this guy is talking. He got mental after going outside and he will kick him out. get lost and చెప్పేసి. And this man also, from the sun he will come again into the dark cave. No, he struggles to understand the dark cave. Arey, what is this darkness? What is going on inside? He feels that these guys are living inside this dark cave too. And he tells them, let us go out. The outside world is very beautiful and you are seeing only shadows. They say, no, this is the real world. You get lost. You got mental after going outside, and they will kick him out. This example is very nice to example what? This is how philosophers see the world, and the other people are inside living in the cave. A philosopher has seen the real world, the reality he has seen, the truth he has seen. But unfortunately, those ignorant people, they are still inside the cave. They are thinking the shadow is the real world, and sometimes it is very difficult. People are proud of their ignorance, yes or no? Sometimes we feel. Some people love to be ignorant. You know that this link is false, but still you will send in WhatsApp. Why? Because it conforms to your biases. Nenu anukuntunna bias. We all in our life are conditioned by our family, our relatives, our friends, our caste, our religion. Avuna kada? అదే కరెక్ట్ అనుకుని బతికేస్తాం మనం. You won't question your own self. That is why all the problems in the world happen, because you all live in your echo chambers. My friend thinks like me, that's why he is my friend. That's it. Arey, your party BJP or your party Congress or your party TRS, arey, this one person has raped someone ante your party has not done rapes. I pen close matters. Close. That is the kind of problem. You will not condemn, yes, this is wrong, even though I like this politician or somebody, this is wrong what he has done. No, you will not say. You will show more corruption happen in your rule, more bad things happen in your, and confirmation bias we call it as. People don't like to see the reality. And I tell this to UPSC aspirants in all my counseling sessions also, that nobody can fool us more than ourselves. Why? You think you are studying for UPSC, but you don't know how to study for UPSC. You think you're opening books every day, paper you're opening, studying a few points, aha, today's work is done, I am on the track. No. Who will tell you the track? A mentor or the person who guides, I'm not marketing myself here, a mentor will tell you actually what is the right, or teacher for example, let us not use the word, will tell you the right track. I will ask you a question, sir, I completed defamation case, I will ask person, okay, so and so, Mr. X or Mr. Y, you read defamation case, okay, fine. So I'll be asking question, simple question to the person, like in India, why criminal defamation has been made as an offense, or if I ask a factual question sometimes like which sections of IPC have been covered in defamation, or I will ask a question, which countries in the world are still following criminal defamation.